Welcome viewers to AI Entertainment. If this is the first time you're tuning in, then you've definitely come to the right place because this video also features a giveaway. One lucky winner will be winning a free battle pass for Season 3 Modern Warfare. To have your chance to win, all you need to do is like, comment and subscribe. I want to hear one thing that you liked about this video and one thing that you think I could improve on next time. The winner will be chosen out of the comment section, and I'll also be checking if that you've subscribed to the channel, so make sure you have. So this video is going to be a normal video on one of my wins. However, because there was audio issues with the footage, I decided to make this into a simple guide on how you can increase your chances on winning a Warzone Battle Royale game. Now of course this is my opinion after winning several games. I play with an average team, so it's possible for anyone to win a Battle Royale game, and I want everyone to understand that. So in this video, I'll be analysing the footage of one of our wins as a team, and you'll be able to see the decisions that we make as a team that ends up leading us to winning a game of Warzone. So as you can see from the statistics, only one of us has a positive KD and the other two just below an average KD. However, we all have wins under our belts, so this shows that it's possible for anyone to win a game of Battle Royale. However, there are some good practices that you should take into consideration, and I'll be going through them today during my video. So, going through my loadout. For this particular win, I chose to use the M91 LMG. For my muzzle, I chose to go with a monolithic suppressor because of its increased damage range and sound suppression, so it means that I'm off enemy radars. For my barrel attachment, I chose to go with an M91 Special Forces. This again for similar reasons, because of its increased damage range and bullet velocity, so it means that for that medium combat I'll have that slight advantage on enemies. And then for the most important attachment, your optics, I chose to go for an integral hybrid sight, which gives me the option to go close range with the red dot or mid range with the scout. However, this is up to your choice, it's more to personal preference. You can also opt to go with the thermal optics. However, keep in mind that when enemies are packing cold-blooded, it means that you won't be able to spot them as easily. For my underbarrel, I chose to go with a Ranger foregrip because of its recoil control, but if that hasn't been unlocked yet for you, you can go for a Mercenary foregrip. And for my last custom mod, I chose to use the perk Sleight of Hand. Now the reason for choosing this is that when you're in the middle of a battle and you need to reload, it can be the decision on whether you're going to live or you're going to die. With 100 bullets in your magazine, it can take quite a bit of time to reload. So Sleight of Hand has been that key moment of me winning a battle. So I've chosen that instead of 150 mag. Now for my equipment, I've chosen to go with a proximity mine for my lethal. This is because it's perfect against vehicles. It destroys vehicles in one hit. And then for my tactical, I've chosen to go with a snapshot grenade because my teammates are usually carrying heartbeat sensors. So it means that I don't necessarily need to carry it myself. I'm able to use the snapshot grenade to understand where enemies are in a building or in a room, and then we can change our strategy accordingly. Perk 1, Cold-Blooded, is a must for me. I like Cold-Blooded because it avoids me being seen on thermal sights, and also I'm avoided on AI systems, which don't really matter too much in Warzone. Perk 2 for the team, Ghost, is a must because we want to be undetectable by UAVs, drones and heartbeat sensors. So everyone on my team carries Ghost. Perk 3 differs from person to person. I know some people like to use tune-up, which reduces revive time by 25%. Some people like to use amped, which is faster weapon swap between your primary and your secondary, which can help you in between a battle. I personally like to use tracker because I like to see the footprints of my enemy if I'm close to them. And if you don't have the M91 unlocked, then you can always use the Dusk Blueprint, which is a great gun in itself. I have personally won a game with just using the Dusk. The only main difference is the fact that it does have a thermal optics, so just be wary that if an enemy is carrying cold-blooded, you won't be able to see them as easily. Now moving on to the game. The first important decision you have to make is where you're going to land. I chose to land in this area because of a few reasons. The first being that there's a scavenger contract here. The good thing about a scavenger contract is that first of all, you get 2k from completing it. You get the locations of 3 supply bins that could give you potentially armor, extra money and weapons. Another reason why I chose this location is because of its multiple shops nearby. So it means whatever area the scavenger contract decides to take us, there will be a shop nearby. The other reasons include that there are other contracts nearby. So once we completed our scavenger contract, we can also go pick up another one. This also means that if enemies are landing close to our area, there's a possibility they may choose to go to one of these other contracts rather than the one we're landing on. And another big reason of choosing this particular location is that it was in the zone. So this means later on in the game, we're not being pressured to go inside the zone because we're already inside. So other things that you might look into when you're choosing a location is that if there's vehicles nearby. But personally, for our choice, this wasn't an issue. Now moving into the actual footage.
There's a guy landing on the roof.
One point to remember about Warzone is that it's a team game and communication is key.
To the contract.
Fink has gone for the contract and IKB has called out that there's an enemy also landing on the roof. So now he knows to be wary of the enemy. Opening the first supply bin, we've picked up a recon drone, which is great for pushing enemies, as you will see later on in the video. We've also have the choice of picking up a baddie LMG, which I've tagged for my teammates. And now I'm waiting for my teammates to regroup on me before pushing to the next supply bin. Arriving at the next supply bin, I've picked up another recon drone, so this gives us 2 as a team. Opening up the last supply bin, we've got a gas mask, which helps us for the late zone when the gas is incoming. So completing the contract, we've now collected around about $15,000 as a team, which gives us plenty of money to get a preload out drop. And depending on your circumstances, perhaps a UAV or self-revive. So now we're choosing the location of the loadout drop. We're looking for a location that's out of the view of enemies. This is important because enemies will see that red smoke and they'll be looking in your direction. So we want to quickly grab our loot and move on. In a perfect scenario, you might want one person to grab loot first while the other 2 are watching. So I've got my proximity mine and I'm just going to go lay it on one of the roads.
This place has been...
We'll come back to this clip later. So at this point, we're now scanning the... So now at this point, we've gone for high ground so we can see the area clearly. IKB has chosen to go on his recon drone to go scan the vicinity for enemies, but he's made the amateur mistake of leaving the door open. Now it's crucial that you always close the door behind you, as it could be the reason why you live, because you just hear that door opening behind you. Otherwise an enemy can sneak up and even finish you if you're in the position of IKB General. So we haven't spotted any enemies, so we move on to getting IKB General and a Fink, both self-revives. Getting self-revived, we're now going for our second contract, which is a bounty contract. So we now collected enough money for me to get self-revived, so I've collected it. We've also collected the bounty contract and now moving to the position of the enemy. Fink is now using his heartbeat sensor while we follow closely behind him, as it would be a slight delay if he switches to his primary when he encounters enemies. So we need to make sure we're protecting him. You want to move a bit closer before you do that if you can. Regularly, he's giving us call-outs on the distance to the enemy and how many there are. At this point, I'm now looking for a location for me to bring out my recon drone that's close to my teammates so they can protect me and so that I can protect them if the scenario occurs. I've chosen to prone here behind the boxes. Bringing in my recon drone, I go towards our bounty target, and now I've got the question for the audience of how many enemies do you see? If you say 1, well, you're wrong, just like I am in this clip, and you'll see what happens. So now we've spotted the enemy, and he's on constant tracking, so my teammates can spot him through the walls, and now they're going to try and secure the bounty. So we've now secured the bounty, but because I failed to spot the enemy on the roof, Fink has now gone down. Fortunately, I thought quickly on my feet to come in and secure the kill before anyone else died. Clearing him, we've now gotten 4,800 in the bag. So collecting the money from the bounty, we now have enough money to buy kill streaks between us. We've opted to go with 2 UAVs and a precision airstrike. We've gone for UAVs because we can spot enemies on the radar that don't have ghosts, and a precision airstrike in case we need to pull an enemy from their location.
42 meters away, southwest.
So Fink is now giving us call-outs on enemies that he's spotting on his heartbeat sensor. And now I've just picked up my double kill on my proximity mine that I laid earlier. If you forgot where I laid it, make sure to go back and check it out. So we're securing our third contract, which is our bounty contract. So collecting the bounty contract, we've realized that the enemy is close to our vicinity. So we take action as soon as possible. IKB General is pushing inside the bus so that he's safe from the enemy and can bring out his drone. However, I have spotted that he is outside the zone, so I'll need to make sure to inform him at the appropriate time to get off his drone and come into the zone.
They're in the car.
So if Fink has made the call out that the enemy is in the vehicle, I'm trying to push them with the RPG. However, they go out in the opposite direction, so end up leaving them.
Yeah, they're driving away, bro.
IKB General has spotted 2 enemies on top of the roof, so we're able to see their location. However, because they have the more favourable advantage, I've made the decision to fall back and to get into the zone.
Yeah. They're spraying them up there, yeah?
So the objective now is to get to the vehicle and move further into the zone. Now, one good practice as a team is always to be in close quarters of each other, so that if one enemy is under fire, we can return fire as a team. Because if one of our teammates goes down and gets killed, then we're already at a severe disadvantage.
In front of us,
So Fink is now
42
spotting
meters
enemies.
northwest. In the house. I'm going on the roof. Yep. If you want to, they are on the second floor. They're on the second floor.
They're right on us, man.
I propped my UAV and we spotted 2 enemies inside the building. Fink has chosen to go for the upper ground, IKB has gone round the back, and I've gone round the front. Opening the door, I've spotted the enemy. He's crawling upstairs. I slowly peek upstairs. I spot a second enemy. I realise that he's got the advantage, so instead I go outside with the idea that I'm going to shoot my RPG through the window, except Fink finishes them up.
Inside.
After finishing them up, we realise that there's another
I've got
team
no shot.
close to our area. So we stay in our position as we've got the advantage being in a building to reload and regather our resources. I tell Fink to split the money, as we don't want one person carrying all the money in the game in case he goes down.
Waiting.
With 30 seconds left in the clock, we've decided not to go and encounter that enemy. Instead, for me to go by a UAV while Fink and IKB General go grab the vehicle.
No time.
With me buying the UAV and them securing the vehicle, we're now moving into the zone. The next location we've chosen is a petrol pump with a recon contract there, with the idea of securing the recon contract so we can find out information on the next zone. IKB General and I have jumped out of the vehicle early, just in case there are enemies here. They'll be pulled towards the vehicle that's going to be spotted on their radar.
47 meters.
So if there is an enemy here, they'll be focused on Fink, who's driving the vehicle, and we can sneak up behind them. However, we're fortunate enough that there weren't any enemies here.
Got a bit of loot real quick.
Securing the recon, we've spotted that the objective is in storage town, and we slowly make our way there. Now, when you're moving to a location, you always want to make sure that everyone is looking at different directions, because there's no need for everyone to be tunnel vision into one location. Arriving at storage town, I now pop the UAV to find out if there's any enemies nearby. However, there is the possibility there are, but they got ghost on. We spot one enemy on the outside of storage town. However, his 2 teammates could have ghost.
I'm watching south.
I'm watching east.
Now we're all watching different locations. I'm watching west, Fink is watching south, and I believe IKB General is watching east. That's another good practice to have in Warzone, is that make sure that everyone is watching different locations when securing an objective.
North.
Now that we've secured the objective, I brought up my recon drone to find out any enemies nearby. However, I was slightly too late as Fink goes down to the enemy. But fortunately, because I have the enemy tagged, he's slightly hesitant on whether he should push, and instead decides to drop back. As IKB General goes for the revive, I let them know that you can push if you need.
Fuck yeah.
And decide to go with the push. However, because the enemy falls so far out of our vicinity, we decide to pull back and instead go to the next zone. So I slowly go back to my location of where my body is and look around to see if there's any enemies nearby, and it's clear.
I pop my UAV and pop another airstrike.
So moving into the next zone, we have now got 2 precision airstrikes and 1 UAV. The precision airstrike is good for putting enemies that are sitting on a corner in the last zone, and the UAV is good to spot enemies that will not be carrying ghost. But at this point, most enemies do have their loadouts and usually have ghost carried, So it's not good to carry more than one UAV, in my opinion.
Plus
Now
they're shot
Fink made
inbound.
a drastic mistake here by opening fire on the enemy. Now I have one rule to my team, and that's only fire at an enemy if you can secure the kill. Now this is important because I'm not saying if you can down the enemy, I'm telling you if you can secure the kill. Because now what he ended up doing was giving our location to the enemy, and then they ended up bringing a cluster strike on him. So it's now left me and IKB General left in the game. So I've spotted the enemy on the other side, giving that information to IKB General, but I haven't opened fire because I don't want to give my position away. I spotted two enemies at the bottom of the hill, and they've spotted me. I've let IKB General know. He's now returning fire with me assisting him. Taking down one enemy, I try and take down the second but fail. So I choose to bring out my RPG with the objective of taking out the helicopter, but I miss slightly. Missing twice, I decide to bring out my precision airstrike to hopefully get the enemy that I've downed, and as well as take out anyone else and destroy the vehicle that's next to them. Succeeding in destroying the vehicle, I've also downed another one, but I haven't confirmed the kill. So I need to keep that in mind, that there are still enemies down there, but I'm not able to finish them. At this point I've realized that I haven't replenished my armor, and that is a mistake that I've made in this game, and it could have cost me the game as well. So always keep an eye at your armor levels. At this point I've spotted it and gone back to replenish my armor, as well as gain the leftover armor that was on the ground. I've informed IKB General of the same, who's also very low on armor and health. Now with the zone closing in the next 15 seconds, IKB General brings in his UAV, which allows us to see two enemies in front of us and two enemies on the left. I make the call out that he takes the two enemies in front of us while I take the ones on the left. Opening fire on them just outside the zone meant that I had to put my gas mask on and then take it straight off, which almost again cost me the game, very annoyingly. But fortunately the enemies had a bad shot, which meant that I was able to take them out. Now the location that IKB General chose to hold meant that he got shot from the other side of the map, being exposed. As you can see, I'm being shot in the same way. I take cover and replenish my armor, knowing that I've got a full gas mask, which means that I can slowly move into the zone while tanking the gas slightly. Knowing that there's 4 people left alive and I'm one of them means that there's 3 people left alive. So it means that there's 3 enemies left alive and 2 teams. Now it falls into a 1v1 situation. I choose to parachute into the zone so that I'm not pressured later on to come. This enemy chose to make the mistake of shooting me while I was parachuting, which meant that he gave away his location, and because I knew that he couldn't make it into the zone, I just slowly shot at him, knowing that he would end up having to leave his location and end up dying from my bullets. And that's how we won our Warzone victory. Now if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know where I can improve for next time. And make sure to comment below on what you think I could do better